welcome back to the Chatooine Show, everyone. The best and brightest Star Wars show in the galaxy, filled with the most wretched hive of scum and villainy. I'm scum. The other two, I guess, are kind of villainy. It rotates every week. We're here Wednesday nights talking about the Star Wars universe. And today we're talking about the upcoming Dave Filoni Mando movie that's going to end that entire Mandoverse storyline, whatever we're going to call it. Was the Filoni verse. I thought it was the Favreau verse, but y'all don't like my boy Favreau, so what do I know? I'm Star Wars Only. Today I'm joined with Lunga and Palp Memes, and if you're watching this live, please leave a like on today's episode, and it's a big help to the channel. And of course, leave us a super chat if you want to support the channel as well. But before we get into the Dave Filoni stuff, did you guys watch our favorite show of the entire Star Wars franchise, Bad Batch Season 3, Episode 4 today?
No, I didn't yet today. I'm so exhausted today. I had to get caught up on wrestling that I didn't watch Monday. So I was watching that today.
Star Wars, huh?
Today, yeah. I usually watch it Monday nights, and I couldn't watch it yesterday because it was D&D.
I don't blame you.
Well, I knew we weren't talking about it tonight, so I could, I can always watch it tomorrow or whatever. But, yeah.
I don't think we're talking about it for 2 weeks. I think next week we have the. And by the way, guys, if you are tuning in and first time hearing this, next week we do have a very special interview with Brendan Wayne, the guy who plays Din Djarin in The Mandalorian, mostly in season 3, but also season 1 and a little bit in season 2 as well. So next Wednesday night's our very first celebrity guest interview. But after that,
depending on how it goes.
Yeah, definitely our last. He's going to get us canceled so quick. He's going to get on and be like, "Hey, these guys are idiots. Don't ever come back on."
Throw it all on us, not just one person in here.
No, and you're looking at the wrong way. It's to your right up to the. But anywho, I did watch a little bit of the Bad Batch. I think I'm like 15 minutes in. We're not talking about that for another 2 weeks, and oh boy, we're back to the usual with those episodes. But let's talk about good old Dave Filoni and his, I guess you could kind of say, upcoming Mandoverse movie. I think the first thing to kind of do is look back at the Mandoverse so far. We've got Mandalorian seasons 1, 2, and 3, Book of Boba Fett, possibly season 1. There might be a season 2. I highly doubt it. And then Ahsoka season 1. When you guys look back at the Mandoverse, like, how do you feel about it so far? Because I remember when it started with the Mandalorian, it being great, it being kind of structured, and then season 2 kind of expanded it into something else. And now that we are over 5 years of doing this series and everything, are your feelings of the Mandoverse the same today as they were 5 years ago?
I don't count Book of Bob.
You have to.
No, I don't. I don't have to do any. I don't have to do anything. I reject your reality and replace it with my own. I don't count
the reality of Disney.
The Book of Bob.
It's canon. It's canon. I mean,
wait. I did not say it wasn't canon. I said I don't count it as. And the reason why, there was only 2 episodes of that mattered, and they were episode 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. So those are the only episodes that mattered in that show. They had nothing really to do with the show at all. So I don't count Book of Bob. And the reason why I don't count Book of Bob is because it as itself as a show sucked, and it screwed up season 3 of Mandalorian. So that's why I don't count Book of Bob. But so if I don't count Book of Bob, and I think about the first 3 seasons of Mandalorian and Ahsoka, I'm generally pleased. Like I said, I wanted to do this a while ago. If you cut up those 2 episodes out of Book of Bob and you remix them into the beginning of season 3, cut out some filler in season 3, it suddenly makes more sense. Even though they still got Grogu a little too early, it made a little more sense. So, I mean, I'm generally happy with the Filoniverse so far. Were there misses? Were there episodes that were misses? Sure. Was season 3 not that great of Mandalorian? Sure. I was generally happy with Ahsoka. Could there have been things done better? Sure. I'm not saying it was the greatest thing since Empire Strikes Back. I'm just saying it was okay. So I'm generally pleased.
You feel the same way, Pal Memes? Are you pleased with the Mandoverse so far? Now that I guess it's 5 seasons, right? Because 1 season of Ahsoka, 1 season of Bob, and then 3 seasons of Mandalorian. And I feel like me and you at least count Bob, even though we don't like it. But are you pleased?
So you first asked, are my feelings the same years ago versus now? And the answer to that would be no. Years ago, I had a lot more hopes and higher expectations for where this grand story could go. was very clear from the start of all this building up is that they're sort of MCU-ifying Star Wars, which was an idea out of all the ideas Disney's had. It wasn't a idea. I find the execution of it pretty piss poor in many, many areas, specifically with consistency of characters and story development. I still push back on, sure, episode 5 of Boba Fett was cool. It didn't really do a whole lot, I guess longevity wise when it comes to the story of Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and his arc and all that. But I find episode 6 of Book of Boba Fett a complete tragedy. I find Luke is extremely out of character in literally everywhere. I'll call him Luke Skinwalker due to the deepfake AI. Also, him being out of character. I've argued many, many times that he's as out of character as he was, almost as out of character as he was in The Last Jedi. And I find the regression of the storyline with Grogu and Din horrifically executed. And it's very disappointing because I genuinely love that ending. And I've been saying for years that Mandalorian should have stuck with just 2 seasons. It should have ended there. Then maybe 7 years from now, we pick up what Din Djarin's doing. We see Grogu grown up and stuff with Luke, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of ideas that you could have done with this Mandoverse that they're simply not doing. Ahsoka being within this Mandoverse or Filoni verse, I'm sorry, I get them mixed up. Ahsoka, I enjoyed it when it came out, and to be quite frank, I don't really enjoy the show anymore. I went back and rewatched it, and I agree a lot more with Star Wars Only, who is a big full-time hater of Ahsoka, which is fine. I definitely resonate a lot more with his opinions on it. The show had a lot of style over substance, specifically with episode 5, the Anakin episode. And as an Anakin set myself, I loved it when it came out, but I look back and I realized, wow, this is a whole lot of nothing. It's very surface level. There's not really a whole lot going on character-wise. We just kind of have to guess and interpret whatever's going on, and we're given no answers to it. It's only there specifically because nostalgic reasons. So that's kind of to wrap up the Filoni verse, if we want to call it that. And so I look and I simply don't have a lot of excitement for the future of it. And that does lead into his movie as well.
It does seem like the good years are behind us and not ahead of us with this Mandoverse. Like, when you look at, I think the way it released was Mandalorian seasons 1, 2, Book of Boba Fett season 1, Mando season 3, and then the Ahsoka season 1. And those first 2 seasons of the Mandalorian, I mean, God, they were just perfect in every way, in my opinion. I know there's now some people who are like, oh, season 2 wasn't that good, or I don't like the writing of them. I just think the series was really done well, those first 2 seasons. Then Book of Boba Fett came out, and that was like the first time we started going like, damn, like, what's going on here with the Mandalorian stuff? It seemed like the second they started to, what do you call it, like spread their wings or put their hands in so many pots. Expanded, yeah. Once they started expanding into other characters like Boba Fett, like Ahsoka, and even after season 2, they brought in so many characters in season 2, and it was done in a way that was pleasing to the casual audiences, clearly, but also us diehard Star Wars fans go, oh my God, that's Bo-Katan in live action. Oh my God, that's Ahsoka in live action. Oh my God, that's Cobb Vanth in live action. Like, it was a really fun time to be a fan. But then Book of Boba Fett happened, then season 3 happened, and then Ahsoka happened. And I think we can clearly argue that Book of Boba Fett is the worst out of those 3 seasons of what this Mandoverse is.
I think it did the most damage just based on the storyline with Grogu himself. Yeah.
Like a bantha. Yeah, the veneers did not do justice. It's funny too, because
like the Boba Fett part of it, yeah, I dislike it and stuff, but it didn't do detrimental damage to the future of the storyline going on necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just
Sarlacc pit apparently just clears the teeth up, takes off all the plaque.
Clean. It's the acidic. It's the acidicness of the Sarlacc.
It's using that charcoal toothpaste. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God! I remember that
stuff out there.
Disgusting. If you use charcoal toothpaste, or if you're watching this isn't Star Wars related. You need to stop. Okay, nope. You get
3 years on.
Colgate. Okay, well, I can't talk. I smoke, so my teeth probably aren't up to par.
Well, I mean, listen, he just got his adult teeth last year. So, he's got to take care of it.
I gotta keep him clean, man. What can I say?
All the baby teeth are gone. I still got to get my wisdom. God damn it. But yeah, no, Mandoverse, it's in such a delicate place right now. It's one of those things where I've noticed the excitement for a Mandalorian movie, a Mandoverse movie by Dave Filoni. It's not the same as it would be after season 2. it seems like the past 3 seasons with Mandalorian season 3, Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka have really derailed a lot of the excitement, but it also has completely changed the story and the narrative of everything going forward. And we're talking about Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie, which I think out of everything is the most likely to happen. But when we look at Dave Filoni and his role in the Mandoverse, I think it's changed over time because it seemed like with the Mandalorian when he came in, this was Jon Favreau's series. He was the showrunner, and Dave Filoni was coming in to help. And now, like Papa Memes was just saying, it's the Filoniverse, and I hate that because the Mandalorian is Jon Favreau. I get really kind of annoyed that people give Dave Filoni so much credit for the Mandalorian series when he's not the series runner. He's not writing on. Well, he's writing on every episode, but he's not credited on every single episode.
I
He doesn't
think he's more
direct
of a
every single.
consultant than a writer. I don't think he wrote any episodes of The Mandalorian. I know he
No, he
directed
wrote
a few,
episodes.
but
No,
did
he wrote like
episodes?
the episodes he directed, except for maybe the first one in season 1. I believe he
Okay.
wrote.
Maybe it's that.
I
I'm
know
thinking of
in
then.
season 3 he didn't write anything, or at least wasn't credited. But I do feel like this is one of those things where Dave Filoni is like a co-writer in the story department, and then Jon Favreau writes out the screenplay and also is a co-writer. So Jon Favreau has the bulk of the load when it comes to the work of the Mandalorian, but Dave Filoni is there as well. But because it's Dave Filoni, everyone gives him all the credit in the world. So when you look at Dave Filoni's role in the Mandoverse, what do you think it has been? And honestly, what do you think it should be? Start us out, Lunga.
Dave Filoni's
His role in the Mandoverse.
What is Filoni's role in the man? I heard the question, but I'm not following what you're trying to get. What the answer
people
you
are saying that it's the Filoniverse, but Jon Favreau started this whole thing. So do you think that Dave Filoni's like in charge of this entire
okay, thank you. Yeah, makes okay. Here, all right. Let's get one thing straight. The reason why it's called the Filoniverse is because there's a lot of Filoni characters in it. There's a lot of kind of Clone Wars Rebel-esque elements in it. So that's why it's called the Filoniverse. And I'm pretty sure he was either the person or in conjunction with who came up with the idea for this show. So and he's the lore guy, right? So yeah, that's why it's called Filoniverse. Favreau, I mean, I know, listen, I'm a Favreau guy, okay? As far as writing and directing, that's who I want to do a lot of shit. It's Jon Favreau. I want him to take over Kathleen Kennedy's place. I want him to run the company. And yeah, he does a lot of writing. But, I mean, haven't you noticed that even what Favreau is writing, he's taking cues from Filoni? That he's deferring to Filoni on things? He is. So
I can agree with that.
Yeah. So it is, at the end of the day, it's still mostly his brainchild.
But I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate that it's
Well,
him.
you can hate it all you want. It's the fucking reality, man.
It just
Get
didn't
out of
seem like
listen.
that with the
Stop playing
first 2
Battlefront.
seasons.
It's not 2002. Okay, it's 2024, man.
I played Battlefront 2, the new one, the better one.
It's not better. That's a whole
the
debate we're gonna have one
reskin.
day. Yeah, the Battlefield
the awakened version of Battlefront.
Yeah,
the reskin that has some extra places, right? Doesn't have some extra
content by any metric of the game. There is
how's
one
Galaxy
metric.
how is Galaxy Conquest?
A game mode that's not there doesn't disqualify me saying it doesn't have less content.
It's less content. That's content that it doesn't.
It's not
have
by any quantifiable
it could have had it.
metric.
Is Mace Windu in
Ask me a
Battlefront
question. Oh
2017?
fucking hell! Is this guy? Era in there? You have a third era. Anyways, what was the question, Mr. Olney?
Shout out to BB-8 in that. Anywho, yeah. What do you think Dave Filoni's role in the Mandoverse is, has been, should be? What's your take on that?
What it is what Lunga said. There's no refuting that. He's more of a I look at it as a consultant role. But then you throw in Ahsoka, and that's his entire baby. That's his whole creation. So that definitely changed it. Now he has this new role at Lucasfilm. What it should be, I'm conflicted on that. I like Dave Filoni, but he is one of, if not the most overrated things when it comes to Star Wars creation. I like a lot of his work, but a lot of his work is really mediocre to poor. And so I don't look at him as this next George Lucas, like a lot of people say he is. I at one point maybe I did, just because that was kind of the trend. But as I really kind of analyze his work more, I realized, oh no, this guy's not like George Lucas. George Lucas is far different from him in the way he writes and creates new ideas and whatnot. I like his role as, a consultationist. I think he's good overseeing things. I think it's why Rebels worked out so well, because it wasn't Dave Filoni writing Rebels. Just like he wrote the Clone Wars, and the Clone Wars is full of major issues that are simply not present nearly as much with Star Wars Rebels.
He's been groomed since The Force Awakens, man. Come on.
But groomed by who? I mean, this idea that he's the next
Kathleen
George
Kennedy?
Lucas, like the guy didn't. Like,
He understudied under JJ, under Ryan, under JJ again.
And you know what?
JJ. Colin Trevorrow walked in one day, had coffee with him, and then got told to get the fuck out.
I will say this. You said that what did you call the Mandoverse right now? You said it's very fragile, right? I think that's the term you used. I am going to push back on that. I think the Mandoverse is fractured right now. I think it is broken. Fragiled was where it was at as the Book of Boba Fett was coming out. And
where's Goldman? Here's doom and gloom palpa memes.
It's true.
Fractured. Jesus Christ.
I think it is fractured. I think it is fundamentally broken. I think it's mechanically broken. And you definitely need a lot of welding to get this thing back together. I don't know if they.
Dude, it just has a flat tire. Your generation just doesn't know how to change flat tires. That's all.
It has
a flat tire.
By Dave Filoni. I feel like I hate to say.
Yeah,
I don't think Dave Filoni was the one who caused Luke to do what he did in Book of Bob. I don't think Dave Filoni wrote Mando season 3. He wrote Ahsoka, and Ahsoka was Ahsoka. But this whole Dave Filoni did this.
But hang on, that episode you're talking about with Luke and Book of Bob, that episode was written by Dave Filoni.
I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with that episode.
And see, I honestly didn't have that problem. I didn't have a problem with it either, or how Luke's portrayal was in that episode. But with Mando season 2, we started expanding in what we were calling these are some Dave Filoni stuff. People from the Clone Wars and all that stuff, tie-ins. But especially with like Ahsoka, that of course is like Palpatine's saying that's his baby. It seemed like Dave Filoni hijacked the Mandoverse. That's how I kind of look at it at this point. Where like when it started out, it seemed so centered around Din Djarin and Grogu. It was a focused story and everything, and it was very interesting.
Okay,
but you're acting like Filoni wasn't there since the beginning. He was.
I'm not.
You make it seem like he just swooped in season 2 and took over.
I know that. But I feel like as time went on, Dave just kept being like, and what we should do, John? What we should do? We should have them reunite.
Oh, come on.
Don't
you remember in that what was that thing where they had where they had the behind the scenes stuff for during season 1, and John was asking him all these questions, and Dave was he was telling him dude, it's been that way since season 1.
But John,
the only thing that's changed is he was writing more and getting behind the camera more once we got to season 2 and 3. That's the only thing that changed. He was still integral to the show.
What changed was it went from, hey, Dave, what are these Mandalorians? What is the history of them and everything? Getting information about the lore. It went from that to what should we do with this character in the next episode?
Sure. And you think you think Jon Favreau's that weak that Filoni can just puppeteer him? Come on.
No, I'm not saying he can puppeteer him. I feel like Lucasfilm just gave him so much more.
Hold on a second. You said you don't mean, you used the word hijacked. That means by force, right? This is
Okay,
Jon
well, yeah,
Favreau's
he didn't
on
come
board,
in with a
right?
gun or anything. You know?
Well, okay, well that's the term you use.
No,
I'm
then
following that.
puppeteering, arm twisting, whatever the fuck you want to say.
Grooming.
That's
Is Jon
what it
Favreau
is.
the one who's being
His
groomed?
influence, he's like Palpatine. He was just there.
You
but,
can say
God
he didn't
forbid
have-
the lore master is influencing Star Wars content. That's his
The
job.
lore master,
That's
but
what
he
he
can't get thrown
said.
right.
But-
Give me a break.
But has it worked out? Is what I'm saying. Is that it?
No, it
seems
has
like the more
not.
his
But
influence has
that wasn't
grown,
the
worse
original
that
point.
Things have gone.
Yeah, but I don't know. I would argue again. There's a lot of theories right now. There's a lot of what happened here, whose decision was this. So it's really hard to pinpoint. Oh, this is Filoni's fault. With
Listen.
season 3 of
Book
Go
of Bob. This is short. Book of Bob was fucking Ramirez, and Jon Favreau tossed him that fucking ball. Okay,
Rodriguez.
that was Rodriguez. Sorry, Robert Rodriguez, and Favreau threw him that ball and told him to run with it. Okay, and that is not even arguably the worst of all of the Mandoverse.
Who wrote
So,
it, Longa?
Absolutely.
Who wrote the show?
I think it was
Jon
between Rodriguez and Favreau, but
It
with
was all Jon
but
Favreau.
but it
Jon
was
Favreau.
with Rodriguez's directing.
Doesn't matter. The script,
Yes, it does.
It does
Yes, it
matter.
does.
He is a
Hold
show-
on,
Yes, it
hold on.
does.
Let me
Series
speak.
showrunner.
When
He's
it
a
comes
series
when he
showrunner.
says it's your show, he gives him the script. It's an outline.
It's not
It's an
necessary.
outline.
The script is your mechanics for the story. Can we agree on that? Right. The script is your entire foundation.
Sure, but what order
Right,
they
so
come
the
in,
point of hold
what
on.
stays, what goes.
Right. So the point of the film is, to convey information from the script onto a visual, right? We can agree on that. That's what Rodriguez was from Filoni. Filoni was there the whole time. Favreau wrote Luke the way he was written. Favreau wrote Grogu to come back in such a poor manner. That was Favreau. The problems with the show under Rodriguez are the directing problems, the cinematography, the poor choreography. That does fall
The
under
acting.
Rodriguez as a director.
No, the acting, the tone, that is all the director, dude. Okay, the acting, dude.
Tone?
You think that's
Yeah,
Favreau?
that's
You think
not what I'm
Favreau wrote, "Hey, Tamora, get on this thing, look like a fucking idiot, smile with your veneers, and do this"? You think that was in the script?
Right. That's not what I'm complaining about, though, Lunga. I'm complaining about the script. That's the biggest issue with the Book of Boba
and-
Fett.
No, it isn't. Because here's the thing: if you take the raw script and you put
Mhm.
a great director behind it, okay, who has the right vision. Because I'm not saying Rodriguez is a horrible director. He's a good director for his genre, okay? His genre,
Yeah, Spy Kids.
which is fucking horror movie. Well, no, it's horror slasher kind of movies. You know, I mean that's
Yeah.
his kind of thing.
Type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he's like a poor man's Tarantino. Okay, and you know that's the kind of genre he's in. So I'm not saying he's a horrible director. He just wasn't good for Star Wars. Okay, if you take that same script and you give it to a different director, and this has been proven, you can see this time and time again. We all know when you put a different director in, the entire tone and the entire movie can completely change and become something greater than what the script or the other director did. So a different director in there could have completely changed it
Okay,
and still had
so
the same script.
I
So you can't
under-
throw it completely on the script.
the issues that I have and the core fundamental problems that the show has, yes, is on the script. But let me throw this out at you because I understand what you're saying. Rodriguez didn't direct the whole show. Okay, we had Howard directing episode 5, we had Filoni directing episode 6, and I think episode 6 did the most damage out of any of the. I'd say 6 and 7 because 7 was pretty horrific in terms of sending Grogu in an empty X-wing. Anyways, take Rian Johnson's Last Jedi script. Okay. Now bring in Tarantino or Nolan or Scorsese. Is The Last Jedi now a workable film, fundamentally, mechanically?
Well, I've said this over and over again. I wouldn't want Scorsese doing a fucking Star Wars film regardless.
Okay, that's
How dare you?
you see what I'm saying, right?
yes.
The script of The Last Jedi is
Yes,
broken.
it can. No. Because Ryan
Yes.
Johnson. Okay. Well, hold on.
What do you mean no?
Here. No. Because it's broken. You're talking about a script that's broken compared to what came before it. That he took the outline that JJ had and did what literally it was meta. What Luke did with the lightsabers, what Ryan did with the
Yeah.
outline. Okay. And he just went off on his own. Okay. The script isn't the issue. The script didn't make it a bad movie. The script made it a bad Star Wars movie. Based on what we had.
Yeah,
the dialogue and the stuff, except for Rose Tico. Okay, that Rose Tico. We're not even.
Is a good movie based on good dialogue, or is it based on consistency?
Part of it.
Proper character development, a storyline that actually works.
There's everything.
Dialogue.
If you are not if you are not a Star Wars, and it's hard to separate this. And I've said this as much as I hate that fucking movie. Okay, if you're not a Star Wars fan, if you never watched a Star Wars movie in your life, but you're like, hey, you know, I'm interested in sci-fi, and you watch The Last Jedi. You're not going to walk out here saying, man, this was just a horribly written movie.
Doesn't matter.
That is literally what you're saying. Yes, it does matter.
Hold on. Let me talk. Let me speak. I have to respond to this. No, The Last Jedi is a continuation of 7 movies and is the sequel. It's the middle part of a trilogy.
I said that.
That is objectively fundamental in writing your script. It doesn't matter if someone hold on. It doesn't matter if someone now who's never seen Star Wars before watches The Last Jedi and likes it. It does not change the objective facts that the script is fundamentally and mechanically broken on nearly every aspect.
Wrong. Because if you want as just a movie, it is not. It is well written. It is you're still looking at it. You add the onus. Listen, I literally gave that example for a reason. If you're not a Star Wars fan and you're like, okay, yeah, but it's the middle of a series, in the middle of a movie, and you give all these reasons on why it sucks, and you go, but even if you never watched a Star Wars movie, it's fundamentally broken, without giving any reasons why, other than it's tied to all the other movies.
Let me give the reason then. Let's talk about. I don't want to get too much in this because we're supposed to talk about this Dave movie, but I can't get behind this argument. The script contradicts itself time and time again. The script itself is full of plot holes. How about the chase scene? That makes no sense. There are so many issues with it. How about Rose telling Finn can we agree that a theme of the film is that, you know, saving what you hate, not fighting what you love? Yet the entire arc for Holdo is about destroying what she hates. That's a contradiction in the script.
Yeah, but she saved the Resistance, which is what she loved. But
look at again. I hate Holdo, but that was a complete mischaracterization. It wasn't about her fighting with hate. She was trying to save. Her whole thing is that no matter what, she was going to save the fleet. That's what she was doing.
All right, let's get off the Last Jedi because we're gonna go down this spiral.
Saving what we love.
Yeah,
right. She was fighting what she hated. That's what she did.
She was fighting what she had to fight.
And again, she hated.
The Rose Tico line is the one thing I said. Rose Tico is the one character that feels so out of place in the entire movie. Sure. Okay, that one character. Her lines, her dialogue, and her placement felt forced, and her part was horribly written. If you ignore her parts, which is intertwined with Canto Bight, okay, the movie is generally well written, dude. It is. Again, when I look at it as a Star Wars fan, and not even comparing it to the 6 previous films, but just comparing it to what came right after, The Force Awakens, there's where it's broken. Okay, that's where it's broken. When you're comparing it being a middle movie of a trilogy and the 8th movie of a 9-movie series, that's where it's broken. Okay, but just as a script, it wasn't badly written.
So
mechanically.
If you completely change where the script is at, then yes, it's not a bad script. But again, I can't work with that because it is a continuation of a story. It objectively needs to follow previous established content.
Only Palpa memes can get me to have to fucking defend The Last Jedi. I can't believe I have to do this. This is
you guys got to get off The Last Jedi because we will be here for
I
hours
apologize.
talking about it. Yeah,
we're not gonna get on board with this.
Let's get back to the other thing we all apparently love. Filoni.
Sorry, viewers. Sorry.
Yeah, good old fucking Filoni. But the way this was brought up was talking about Filoni's writing and the problem with the writing in the Mandoverse, and whether it was Jon Favreau's writing in Book of Bob or if it was Robert Rodriguez's directing. And that's the problem, I think, with some of these seasons of the Mandoverse is that you can look at it and go, okay, well, Dave Filoni wrote this episode and Rick Famuyiwa directed it, or Jon Favreau wrote this episode and Robert Rodriguez directed it. When it comes to like the Ahsoka series, though, that's 100% all Dave Filoni. He wrote and directed everything. Well, no, he didn't direct every single episode, but he did write every episode. He was the series director. He did direct, I think, 2 or 3 of the episodes. That ties into the Mandoverse but I feel like in a very unique and different way. And this is where I use the wrong term of hijacking, but I do feel like Dave has taken over the Mandoverse in a way with the Ahsoka series, because now it seems like Thrawn and Balin and Ahsoka and Ezra Sabine, they have now become integral to the story of the Mandoverse. And we have this situation where we know when it comes to the Dave Filoni Mandoverse movie, not the John Favreau one, but the called The Mandalorian Grogu, God forbid that's a real title. That movie seems to be focused on Mandalorian and Grogu, Din Djarin. It seems like the Dave Filoni one, at least according to what they were actually saying, is going to be about the entirety of the Mandoverse storyline coming to fruition and completing that story. And we see the beginning of that with Ahsoka season one. She was introduced in season two of the Mandoverse, and they just kind of kept building. And now it seems like they're using Ahsoka to expand on the Mandoverse and also gear it towards a new villain, new storyline, and everything. Because wouldn't you guys agree when we first thought of a Mandalorian movie, or maybe even the Mandoverse and where the story was going, that it was going to be Moff Gideon as the big bad guy? And now it's Thrawn, you know?
Yeah. I still don't know what happened. Why?
Zorg
Again,
from Toy
is
Story,
something
man.
something no, I can't, I still don't know what it was, and I still can't put my finger on it. But something changed. Okay, between season 2 and when they started filming season 3, something changed where they changed the outcome. Okay, we know that just because the whole mix up they had where they put those 2 episodes in Book of Bob, which shouldn't have happened. Okay, season 3 was changed. You can tell it was changed. You could tell there's parts where it's like it seems jigsawed together at some points. Okay, something changed, and I still, just from the way Juan Carlos Esposito was talking about it prior to the season, I don't think that was the original ending. I don't think that's what was Moff Gideon's, at least not completely his plan. I don't think it was supposed to be just this Dick Dastardly mustache twirling. I'm going to be the emperor now and my clones. I don't think it was that. You know, I think there was something else. So something changed. I don't know what it was. And I think we're all worse off for it, unfortunately. But I don't know what the hell happened there.
I hope
agree,
that wasn't the
something did
better
change.
option, because holy cow, well, imagine the worst option.
Well,
If that was
would
the
you
good
guys
option.
have preferred it to be Moff Gideon throughout the whole way, like he be the big baddie? Or do you think, because that's the thing is, it
They-
seems like we are going towards Heir to the Empire, of course. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what Ahsoka said. I don't know. Do you guys remember Heir to the Empire? 'Cause
I would have liked it better.
I remember.
I remember. I remember. too.
I would have liked it better if he was the first link in the chain post death of Palpatine, who was lead. Even though again, everyone hates, no one, old heads and traditionalists don't want this connecting to the sequel trilogy, right? But if you want this story at least to have more substance and feel connected and feel better, he should have been the first link in Necromancer. He was the one that was doing this, and not everyone in the Empire knew about it, right? And he was this one Moff that kind of knew. So he was the one that was doing this. He could have had his own little ambitions on the side, right? Maybe he was making his own clones for himself. Well, Palps is dead. He ain't going to know until he comes back, until we bring, he's, his soul is like living on Exegol for right now, let's, what I mean? So he can, him being the first link in that chain that leads into a bigger story, which leads into the whole thing with Thrawn, which leads into the sequels later. That would have felt better than him just being this one-off warlord doing his own thing in the middle of nowhere because it's splintered, which does not link to the First Order at all.
I think I would have liked it better, at least with Thrawn taking over as the big baddie of this, is if Moff Gideon and Thrawn had a battle against each other for the ruling of the Empire or something. Because in storytelling, we've seen that many a times of, oh, there's this guy you think is the main villain and the big baddie, kind of like with the original trilogy of Darth Vader is the big baddie, and then you find out, oh, there's this guy, the Emperor, who's even more powerful, and that makes us even more daring and all that. So I think that would have been a better way to go with Moff Gideon and Thrawn, is that Thrawn comes back from this unknown galaxy and is like, no, like, this is mine now. The Emperor's dead. I know he would pick me over you, and the warlords need to pick me over you, the Shadow Council and everything. And he takes out Moff Gideon. I think that would have been a lot better of a storyline to follow, and it would have made it more interesting to have Thrawn as the main villain. Because now it seems like they got rid of Moff Gideon, so they have to find a new baddie for the entire Mandoverse storyline. But Din Djarin doesn't seem to know him at all. Like, I don't think he knows anything about Thrawn, and it's stuff like that where it's like, how is this going to be interesting as an audience to go?
Well, that's what Ezra's for. Ezra's supposed to fill them all in on that shit. That's what Ezra's there for.
But even then, that's where I say hijacking of the Mandoverse from Dave Filoni, where it's like it went from focusing on Din Djarin and the Mandalorians to now I feel like when we get this movie from Dave Filoni, it's going to be Din Djarin stumbling into the Rebels crew and be like, "Oh, you guys are fighting Thrawn?" Because
I think it was like supposed to be that from the begin with. Dave was taking his Clone Wars and his Rebels, and he's doing this with them, right? He's putting them all together into this storyline that this is what happened in Clone Wars, and then later in Rebels is what leads into what I'm doing here. So it's all one thread. Okay, so he's weaving it all together. So I think it was always meant to be. But again, season 3, something changed there, dude. Something changed there. I don't have the problem with the Rebel stuff going on, and again, really, if you think about it, Ahsoka and stuff. You're talking about Ahsoka now. We're not talking about Mandalorian anymore, except for that episode, the 2 episodes she was there where she was looking for Thrawn. That was it. Okay, so all this stuff with Thrawn and everything, that's in the Ahsoka series. That's not in Mandalorian, and it's not Din. That's the Ahsoka series. Din has nothing to do with that. So they are separated in that fashion. Yeah, I had another thing I was going to say, but I lost it.
They are tying
together. Of course they're tying together, because Ahsoka was reintroduced in Mandalorian. Yeah, and because they're all going to come together in the movie.
To fight Thrawn, and it's supposed to be like the end game for Star Wars, which I get, but it's the execution of it. Moff Gideon just kind of, does he really die in season 3? Is it his clone? Is he still around? Like everything that the Mandalorian that had going for it that was interesting, I feel like has completely been thrown out. I feel like the interest of Din Djarin and Grogu is kind of gone at this point. Like I don't think there's a lot of interest in the future of this.
It's just played out. It's over. I'm saying it. The Mandalorian has overstayed its welcome, and that's why I still push back on the idea of a movie. And I know you guys don't agree with me. And that's fine, but thinking this movie would make $1 billion is blasphemy to me. In all honesty, and I question how well Dave's movie would do in the box office, because
now when you use words like blasphemy, that tells me you just don't want it to. You don't want it to. You are hating the fact if it does, you're going to be pissed.
What? I would blasphemy. Be pissed if Star Wars is now popular again.
You said if it makes $1 billion, it's blasphemy. Think about that.
That is not what I said. That is not what I said. I said the fact that you guys are saying, hold on, everyone, be quiet. I said the fact that you guys are saying it's going to make $1 billion is, to me, blasphemy. Because imagine if the MCU built all 2 phases up to phase 3 on Disney Plus, and then they released Endgame in the theater. Endgame would not make the absurd amount of money it did. It would not make nearly as much.
The Mandalorian movie is not the next trilogy. It's not the Rey movie. It's not. It's again.
I'm talking financials. I'm not talking status. I'm talking the financials of it.
If it does $1 billion, I'm sure they would start a trilogy with it.
Possibly. The way I was leading, and it seems honestly like this is going to be a duology with Dave's movie in this. But the financial status. The reason I brought that up is because I was leading on to questioning the Mando movie's potential performance. I'm also questioning this Dave Filoni's movie performance. What could it make? I don't know if that's something you guys want to go into or not, because it's so far out.
I do think it's an interesting topic, because if the Mandalorian and Grogu does $1 billion in the box office, the likelihood of Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie doing $1 billion in the box office is very much increased. If it doesn't perform that well, I think if you build it up properly,
and again, that's why I say, like, I don't know if you guys want to even get into it, because there's so many different factors that go into this that 2 years from now could be completely different variables. But that just
that's what's weird about it, is that it does seem like we're 100% getting this Mandalorian and Grogu movie, the start of this.
We have a film date, which we kind of had that with the Rey movie, and then that got pushed back, and now we had a film date for season 4 of Mando, and now that's in the cloud somewhere. And now we have a film date.
I do want to say though, you guys remember like a year or two ago when I came out before season 3 even released, and I was like, "Yo, I got a source. saying that season 3 is going to be the last season of The Mandalorian. Looks like I was right. As time has gone on,
see,
it
that's why I
seems
push
like-
back on that being quote unquote correct. Yes, in hindsight, it was correct, but also it's very clear.
Yeah,
that
don't
this
get
season-
into the nitty gritty.
Yeah,
don't
I'm
get into the
going to
nitty
get
gritty.
into
I
that.
know.
Okay,
I know.
that was a
I
lucky
know.
guess.
It wasn't a guess. It was a source.
It was a it was a prophecy. But anyways, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Man on the street who gave me a for telling. He was like,
You're
give me
muted, Lon.
It was a source that guessed. That's what it
That's
was.
what I
Only.
said. Yeah.
Okay.
Possibly. The source said
we don't know.
wrong
They could come out and be
before.
like, no, we are doing a season 4. Hurry up, John, write that script.
It's just so confusing on what's going on here, because if the idea is we're doing a Mandalorian and Grogu film in 2026, and then like 2028 or 2029 we get the Mandoverse finale with Dave Filoni, but we don't really get any Star Wars shows about the Mandoverse other than Ahsoka season 2 up until then. That's so
In
odd
all fairness, in all fairness, the big roundup of I think it was at what's that Disney event where they revealed all the shows.
D23.
Yeah, we're at the end of the road. I think Acolyte would be the final one in that. So for all we know, we should have a collection of more shows. God help us. Probably this year, at the end of this year. But
Yeah.
we wanna read that super chat.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. We actually were just talking about this before we went on the air.
Hold up again, please.
Yeah, breaking news. The recently
it's
reported
Diamond
Mando
Figs,
Center
yes.
game was dropped to make an FPS Star Wars game following the life and times of Batcher the Hound.
Yeah. So
I had to think about that for a second. I was like, Batcher.
The first half, because I read it briefly. The second
No,
half,
I
I'm like,
know.
I got lost completely. But yeah.
That was a good one. Thank you for that super chat. But no, actually, it's so funny. How was it last week that we talked about this
it was
Mandalorian game,
last
or was it 2
flipping
weeks?
week.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I said this is, even though it's not okay, this is not on Lucasfilm. This is not Lucasfilm's doing, but it is still a new record for Star Wars. 7 days.
Oh my god, yeah,
8
you're right.
days.
7 days.
It was on
from
a Tuesday, I think.
Reveal. Yeah, 8 days.
It's on a
from
Monday or
reveal to
Tuesday, so-
cancellation. People don't believe me when I say
That's
like
like
the Star
Olympic
Wars
gold,
video
man.
game market. The Star Wars video game market, I think, was integral in the early 2000s to the 2010s to keeping the Star Wars fan base alive and bringing in new people.
Well, you had
We got
again. We got
nothing.
into this last week. You had so much variety in it. You know, we just don't have that now.
We don't have shit. What's the last Star
And
Wars game
even
that came
though the
out?
Mando game was
Oh,
set in the original
Survivor.
trilogy, it was still a Mando game. So even though that aspect is still new, right? And we're not even getting that.
God, I'm so tired of things being announced and then canceled and
Well,
trying to
again,
get
like
stuff for anything.
Palpatine was saying too. To be fair, Lucasfilm didn't announce that. Respawn. I mean, they talked about it years and years and years ago. I guess that they were developing something.
It's
That was
what
about it.
it's what
But-
that first person shooter got turned into, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing that happened last week was Respawn. Kind of leaking something. Basically, there was no Lucasfilm tweet or announcement about it.
No, and when I
Yeah,
say
it
all
was-
Lucasfilm,
official.
it's not like they were the reason it got canceled.
Yeah.
Is what I was saying with that. It's the gaming industry, for anyone who's following it, knows it's a complete shit show right now. It's kind of funny, actually. Very sad for those who are losing their jobs, though. But you know, mega corporations.
But again, this is also going on in the video game market everywhere, not just Star Wars.
That's what I just said. Like this is
yeah,
the whole
big
game
major
market's a shit
problems
show.
going on in the gaming
Yeah,
industry right now.
and so, but
Why can't I
anyways,
just
yeah.
be happy though? Can't I just get a
Where's
Mandalorian game
KOTOR
with the
3?
Mandalorian movie? Where's that KOTOR remake?
Where's
I mean, there's-
Eclipse? We're supposed
Oh
to have
my God,
Eclipse
don't
this
even
You know,
year.
and the funny thing is,
Supposed to
the
be this
KOTOR
year.
remake, it's like the game's
Fire,
already
right?
there, right? Right, the game's already there. All you're doing is taking the same game, remastering it, adding some stuff. You know what I mean? Expanding it a little bit,
Yeah,
and
it depends
and
on how far you go with the word remaster, because remake can go down to changing fundamental gameplay aspects where everything
right.
is played differently.
But what
The
I'm saying
story,
is, though,
I agree,
is-
it should be the same.
yeah. What I'm saying though is it's that game of any game is a slam dunk. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's a slam
Oh,
dunk.
yeah.
It is money in the bank. You are not risking. Okay, it is that will fund your next game that you want to take a chance on. That game would have been a slam fucking dunk. Okay, and why they don't just do the easy thing right now, right? Just do that. Just make a redo KOTOR. It'd be a slam fucking dunk. Okay, but you know, I don't know.
We are Star Wars fans at the end of the day, and this is how we must suffer. We deserve this.
We get tortured every goddamn. They make it harder and harder to be a fan. I feel like as every year goes by, it's like what am I looking?
Oh,
forward to?
my desire and excitement. Oh, it's dwindled, and I know it's an anomaly, or anecdotal. Sorry, but like I know so many people in real life who 4 years ago we used to talk about Star Wars all the damn time, whether it's at the gym, when we're hanging out, or whatever. Now, dude, some of the biggest Star Wars fans I knew are just like,
I gotta say this because you gamers make me laugh. Grievous Reborn goes, it was hard for me to be excited for a Knights of the Republic remake since it's going to be a PC and PlayStation exclusive. So basically, everybody in the world can play it except you fucking Xbox nerds. That's what you're complaining about.
That's also
gamers don't like exclusives. I don't
stop
mind
it. Everybody knows real gamers play on PC. So let's just drop that right there, okay?
Us sweaty nerds. Also, I think that's a misconception. I believe it was exclusively launching on those platforms, but then months later on PlayStation, not PC, and then months later, time down the road, it's going to release on everything. But it was like a partial exclusive, if that makes sense. There was a chance GTA 6 was going to do that,
release exclusive, and then like 6 months later, a year later, they put it on.
That's pretty much from what my
Xbox even came out.
Yeah,
I think they're doing that with like Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, it's the only ones that are exclusive like that are the ones that are made by like Halo made by Microsoft. That's different. But
Forza,
right.
Anyways,
gosh,
what's the next?
I just wish I could be happy with this stuff.
Oh, I know. I saw that, and of course, all my friends are sending, and they're like, we just laugh now. Like literally, all we do is laugh. We can't even get upset anymore.
What can you be upset about? It's just it's expected.
Shouldn't we expect this at this point? I mean, we'd be the definition of insanity if we're not expecting this.
Yeah, but I'm still here trying to be excited
about
Star Wars. It's like I hate so much of what's going on, but I still have such a deep, burning love for this franchise.
It's that girl you're with that's so hot, but damn, is she crazy, and she keeps cheating on you. But then you're like, one night you're like, man, she's fine.
I was about to say, you saying her crazy doesn't deter me at all. That's a little hot.
No.
Actually.
But she's cheating on you. But then you have a good day together, and you're like, hey, it's kind of nice. Maybe things will change, and then.
No, she's.
I've been hurt. It's all right. I've been hurt.
We can tell.
The choir, brother.
We can tell.
Just leave me alone. All
we
right?
can tell. Did you find out in the cafeteria junior year?
Senior year, but yes.
That bitch! How dare she?
What's the next topic? Move on. I'm done here.
What do you guys think is how's the story going to end with the Mandoverse? Do you think? Because the problem right now is it seems kind of like, what can you even do? It seems like the story of Din Djarin and Grogu is done. It's over. Yet we're getting a movie, and the future of this is just 2 movies. How are we going to wrap up that story with 2 movies, maybe an extra season of Ahsoka to kind of add to it and set things up? It doesn't feel like
Din Djarin dies, and that's what gives and when he dies, that's when Grogu becomes a full-fledged Mandalorian. And then down the line, with his longevity, obviously, we're going to see him as a full-grown Yoda species, being a Mandalorian and shit like that.
You think we'll see that in either of these 2 movies that have been announced?
And if that happens, because he's money, right? But if that happens, that's the end of the second movie, whenever we get to there. And why are we not talking about Pedro? Most like guys. This is what we should have been talking about.
Hold on. Let's.
It's related.
There.
It's related.
I want to answer the damn question.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
So can you? Yeah. Where should the story go? I don't know. What story is there for, like, we have, what character development or, I guess character development can we get for Grogu and Din? Sure, Din could die, Grogu can grow up. I don't know if I would call that like development, but not that you did call it that. I'm just saying in terms of me.
Well, it would be development for Grogu because that would shape him for his future.
Yeah, no, in terms of, I was talking to him growing, but anyways, I agree with that. I ask what story, they're obviously going to be inspired by Heir to the Empire. Thrawn's going to I would hope Thrawn dies in the end of the second movie. and then maybe at the end we get kind of a Marvel thing where there's like a post-credit scene of like Hux walking down the hallway, or you see Snoke and there's like First Order troopers.
The most
I don't know.
anticlimactic end credit scene ever.
But would you be surprised if they did that? Come
No.
on.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't, again, it's so weird because they basically they put Din and Grogu back to square one with their characters. The characters were with Din was regressed and stuff, so now it's like back to phase one of everything. And so they're kind of starting fresh with this movie, so they can kind of do whatever the hell they want. And with Thrawn, I mean, my guess is as good as yours. I haven't really put much thought into it just because of how far away this movie is, and I do have serious doubts if this movie will be made, given how far away it's going to have to be, and the state of everything with Star Wars.
I don't know. I feel like Dave Filoni has the most secure position with the film out of everybody. But the problem with him is he has no mainstream appeal. He's just known to the Star Wars diehards. It's like the whole Hayden Christensen thing.
Yeah,
I mean, we all love Hayden Christensen. It's like, yeah, you and like two other people.
Again, I bring it back to the stock shares. You tell them this guy who's never made a live action film before, who's only made an animated film which bombed, is not getting a $200 million film. There's going to be pushback. Given the circumstances and state of Star Wars, it could be very different in 5 years from now. I don't know, but let's say it's relatively similar. I can see there being a bunch of pushback on that.
Absolutely. But Longa does bring up a good point about the whole Pedro Pascal thing.
Yeah.
It seems like he won't be in the first one, the Mandalorian and Grogu one, but I mean, I feel like by the time
here we go again.
comes around,
We'll be in the second one, guys. Don't worry.
I mean, if he's not in both of them, that's just horrible.
You're in the
Stop smoking
phase.
crack. He is fucking Reed Richards. He is Reed Richards in the MCU, and not just the MCU. I know people are like, the MCU's been struggling. Guess what? So is fucking Star Wars. Okay, they're both struggling. So let's get off that tip. It's the MCU. Okay, and arguably. Not even arguably. Why I keep saying arguably? It's not arguably. The most anticipated superhero team of all time, the first family in Marvel Comics. He is Reed Richards, the most intelligent man in the universe, who, by the way, has the Council Reeds. There's multiple Reed Richards all over the multiverse and shit. That is a multi-film deal. Okay, it's not 2 Mandalorian movies that he just takes his helmet off once or twice. It is going to be at least 4 to 5 movies minimum. Okay, that he's going to be in, not counting cameos and shit
stuff too. Yeah,
right. Okay, and he is going to be paid big money for it, and they're hoping that this is the catalyst for revitalizing the MCU as well. Okay, so that is huge, and then you add The Last of Us on top of that, which is big. Then he just won SAG Awards and shit and everything. Okay,
he's filming that this year.
Are they filming that right now? I thought
they're filming that middle of this year. I think last was reported, which is going to be at the same time of.
You take those things, and then you take all the scheduling snafus that's going to be reverberating for the next 2 or 3 years because of the strike. Okay, yeah, he's most likely not going to be. If anything, he's gonna email in or fucking cloud in some fucking voiceovers.
Yeah, that's so sad microphone.
To me, man. That's so sad. Like, and I don't disagree with Pedro's choices here. Like him doing what is best for him.
You clearly were earlier.
Yeah, you were. Why would he make that choice? What's the matter? Is he crazy?
Hold on a second.
I can disagree with him picking one thing over the other, but I'm saying if that's best for him, he's got to do what's best for him.
Guys, he is really underselling it. This is not the only that we were talking to.
I'm going to tell you something. I can't believe we've come to this in the show. It's a long time coming because usually it's me. Usually it's Goldman. Only you are huffing the copium very, very hard right now. I'm sorry. I have to tell you that.
What coping are you fucking talking about? I'm not coping over anything.
3 weeks ago, you were saying there is no way
I
in hell
make money
he doesn't
from
take this role. 3 weeks ago, you were saying
I
there's
said it would be
no
a
chance
huge
because
mistake.
it's Star Wars.
No,
And I
said it
said
was a
Reed
huge
Richards,
mistake.
and you said, "Who cares?"
You did say that. Who the fuck's Fat Four Stick? No one cares about this.
There's been
Yeah.
3 fucking Fantastic Four movies, and guess what? They all were shit. All right. I don't give a fuck
Okay,
about the
I
next one
understand,
coming
and
out.
I understand where you're coming from. That, but this is also
Those
done
are the
under
Fox movies
a
that
different-
literally
yeah, this is a
made
different
those
Star Wars
movies.
Studio.
Yeah.
This is connected to the MCU. This, yeah, because those
Yeah.
movies
And-
were
and-
pretty freaking.
And you got to
My
remember,
biggest
the
point with it all
first
is that-
Fantastic Four movies, the first ones were the product of their era, right? They were made around X-Men and the first original Spider movies.
Yeah,
They were
Spider-Man's,
similar to that
yeah.
feel, okay? When we look at them now, we're like, oh man, those movies. But back then, they were decent. You know, we're like, it was cool, except for
They
Galactus
had
being a
its
cloud.
audience. They had its audience.
Right. Now, the second one, you got to understand something. That was literally Fox making the movie because they had to make so many movies to keep the rights. They literally said, we don't care, just make something just so we keep the rights. That is the only reason. They didn't care. They just throw it out there, make a movie, whatever it makes, and they didn't give a shit. So you
That
can't
movie was
gauge.
So bad. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But my overall point with the whole Pedro thing is not that like fuck Pedro for picking Reed Richards or becoming the MCU. It's not. It's to me it's a fumbling of the bag by Lucasfilm.
No, absolutely. It was
How?
100%.
No, there's absolutely nothing they could have done to stop that. No, come on.
Yeah, no. Let me.
It comes
let me
with
get this.
scheduling. It comes
Hold
with
on,
pay.
hold on.
It comes with all that.
Hold on. If the state of Star Wars were in a much better state, then yeah, there would be a higher chance, not a guarantee, but a higher chance that Pedro would be more on board to be present in the Mandalorian seasons and this movie.
No, it wouldn't have, and I'll tell you why. Okay, while yes, because they're not working at Actors Guild minimum. Obviously, he's getting paid good money. Okay,
Right.
But they still have scales based on if it's voicing, if it's on set, how many hours of it you're doing, how much time you're putting in. He still would not have been in that fucking suit.
No, and that's
It would have still would have been Brendan Wayne, who we are interviewing next Wednesday, guys. By the way, he'll be here on Chatooine next week. Brendan Wayne. He will. It'll still. It's just the payday from Marvel is going to be way more. Even if the state Lucasfilm was good, it's going to be way more than he would have got just for his voicing and maybe a scene or two with his helmet off.
I understand
and
that,
I agree
but
with you,
but
Logan. That's a
saying
good
when it
point. I agree.
When it comes to the excitement for this movie, you need pay. If they're doing marketing and press tours for The Mandalorian and Grogu, and Pedro Pascal is not there, I'm telling you, there's a lot of women that are not going to tune in for that motherfucker. Like,
Guys,
like,
just understand something. When they say he's not going to be there,
celebration in Anaheim, and when Pedro Pascal came out on the panel, the crowd went fucking crazy. All right, even
do you know what Pedro Pascal not being there means? It means he's gonna, like I said, he's gonna cloud in from his closet some fucking voiceover. Okay, he's gonna do the voiceover because that he can do. Okay, he can do that in between takes. He can do that at any time he wants. Okay, and all he's got to maybe is be on set one day to film his stuff with his helmet off. Okay,
Yeah, that's the question I have: is if we're going to even see him without his helmet, because
that's a huge question.
Clearly, season 3 was forced to keep his helmet on, especially for the last scene where he's chilling with.
Because he wasn't
Grogu in the
there.
desolate
He wasn't
area.
on set.
That's my point, right? That's my point. So
That's
I'm
why I'm saying
questioning
we
if we'll
need
even
him.
see
That's
that.
why we had that last scene with him sitting on the homestead with still
That's
the
what I
fucking
just
helmet. That was fucking hilarious.
Break.
I was
Like,
like,
he can't do anything in his own home. Like, does he take a shit with his helmet on?
It's like you
too?
expected him to see with the wheat sticking out of his mouth, but he couldn't because he had that fucking helmet on.
maybe it's not his radar, his radar. It goes all the way down like a tube.
No, he doesn't have one. That's Django.
No, but I mean, no,
Boba.
it's a very it's. I agree with Only. I think there's going to be a lot of stake with getting Pedro on press and stuff. Now, I don't know. He can still do press tours and stuff like red carpet and all that.
If he does the voicing still, he'll still be on the press tour.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I need to worry too much
but
about
what
that.
breaks
but
my
He just
heart with
won't be
all of
on
it-
set.
it still
just breaks
sucks
my
if
heart
we're not
because
going to be able to
when
get
you look
him
at-
without his helmet.
Well, the Mandalorian's just not the same anymore. Like that era where, like, I saw a picture the other day where it's Pedro Pascal as Din Djarin, Carl Weathers as Grief Karga, and Gina Carano as Cara Dune. There was a time back in 2020, 2019, 2021, and all that where that was like the best that Star Wars had. Like those characters was like, God, like we have such a cool story going on here. I can't wait to
Because
see.
it was after
That's
the sequel
gone.
trilogy, so we hit it. We hit a valley with the sequel trilogy, a very deep and dark valley, and then we hit a little peak. with the Mandalorian seasons 1.
It wasn't a
and
little
following
peak. Hang on,
2.
don't call it a little peak. This thing was a big fucking
I'm sorry.
deal.
Yeah, that
all
was an
right?
exaggeration. There was a peak. There
It,
was a
it,
peak.
it
yes.
was it was a big deal at the time, and it's so sad to me that when we go into this two new movies about the Mandalorian and the Mandoverse, Carl Weathers, God bless his soul, passed away. Gina Carano, good God, got fired, and then Jar and Pedro Pascal is not going to be there. So those three characters, like that era of the Mandalorian, what was making it so good in that first 2 seasons, it's completely gone now, and that's
Again,
very
we don't.
disappointing.
Again, we are going by rumors, right? This is still nothing that was said.
No,
Okay.
This is Deadline. This is not rumors. This is Deadline. They are.
Yeah,
in
but
the
if they
trades.
still no, but what I'm saying is they still said what we know. Okay, they haven't even started filming
Right, they
yet.
said
They
it's
don't know.
we're unsure. Yes.
Okay.
Which is still which is frightening
Right.
considering they're filming this in
Right.
4 months.
Now, again, what
3
that
months, actually.
means, all that means is doesn't mean we're not going to see him. He could literally, again, one day on a set, he could film his 10, 15 minutes without that he has an entire movie with his
Right.
helmet off.
Right. But my problem is that actually going to be a payoff, or is it going to be, oh, people want to see him without his helmet? Because I need actual development in this story. I need an actual arc, right? And with that, would probably need him
That
to have
wasn't
his
gonna.
helmet
I
off on a
mean,
consistent
him
basis.
having it off almost the whole movie wasn't going to happen, regardless of this Reed Richards.
Not the whole
Come
movie,
on,
let's.
but it would be very, very hopeful.
You do need
But
an
it
emotional
wouldn't-
scene
but it
taken
wasn't
off
gonna
for him
happen.
to take off the
That's
helmet.
that's wishful thinking. That wouldn't happen. Even if Pedro was there, no MCU stuff, and he was there as present, it would have been the same as the show. You would have, out of a 2-hour movie, you would have seen him without his helmet maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, if season 3 didn't happen, I would disagree. But with season 3, yeah, they really regressed that character arc. But yeah, I mean, just disappointing. And it only is right. Yeah, what we had with those first 2 seasons in the fandom and the casual audience and stuff. I that's why I say it's fractured. I genuinely it's gone.
So
The
it's so
ambition
crazy
is not there as for what it was. And there's a lot of reasons why that is.
For
It's-
you,
it's just
I don't.
weird to me that
It's
these-
that's, but that's not. That's. I'm telling you, that's not the general viewing Mandalorian fan public. It's not. They're still
You
waiting
say
for it.
me, but how can you say that for everyone else then? I mean, we're on the same boat here with our statements.
Because in my travels and in my home area and what I've
I
seen
could
on the
say
internet,
same thing.
I
just
have
said
seen-
earlier,
I've seen more people. Okay, just about everyone you talk to, I've seen more people excited about it. Okay, than people saying. I've literally seen no one say, no, I lost interest in it like you. I haven't seen anyone say that.
that's fine.
I've seen
Again,
people
that's
saying
why-
they're worried or they don't know.
Yeah.
Season 3 made them kind of anxious.
Yeah.
I've seen
I will
that.
say I've
that's
seen a
why
good amount
I
of people
call it
say
an
they're not
anecdotal
interested.
situation. I mean, we objectively can't use it as a no, you're wrong, I'm right when we're both using anecdotal situations.
Yeah,
We're
but
both
I
on-
can
that's why I say
I can
we're both
agree
on
with
the
And
same
you know,
side.
and you know what will
There's
you know
definitely
what will
excitement for
settle
this.
that? The box office.
Absolutely. I mean, shoot. We'll see.
And when
Well,
when
they
you
said
tell
they're
me and when
getting
you
a tax
say
write-off, too.
when you say Lunga, you're right. I want you to be kneeling the way Vader was before Palpatine.
I'd be very happy if the Mandalorian movie makes $1 billion in the box office. I would be very surprised, and 2, very ecstatic that, oh wow, there's still a lot of care in this franchise. We have a chance.
And then
But I
you
had-
retract
I-
everything
I-
you ever said.
I will say I was
Not
wrong.
everything.
Absolutely.
No, if
Yeah.
it does hit $1 billion, that is a great sign
Yeah,
because
that'd be
I
a
mean, the
fantastic
way-
sign. I just
They're,
highly
they're
doubt
saying
its
the first one
probability.
is filming like for less than the season 1 and 2 and 3 budget, which is
So
asinine to
there's
me.
I was talking to someone about that. It's kind of mismanaged here. So we got probably about $120 million budget, 100 to 120, and you probably have about 50 million for marketing. It is still on the
That's
low side
insane.
though. That's still
That's
on the low
insanely
side.
low.
But
That's like less than half of the
but
solo budget.
here's the problem though. You guys see the creator, Gareth Edwards.
Who?
Gareth Edwards, the creator, the sci-fi movie that came out about the robots and AI taking over.
I still haven't
Beautiful.
seen that. I want to see that.
Look, did you see the trailer? Looked phenomenal. Had an $80 million budget. You can do really fantastic things with low, quote unquote, lower budgets. But with Lucasfilm, we've seen how they've worked on an $80 million budget with Kenobi.
Yeah,
and other
we
things.
know they're
So,
going to abuse the
I
volume.
know,
and
I
it's
just wanna
not
throw that
gonna
out
look
there.
Great.
budget doesn't equal quality in cinematography. So
Not always, no.
no.
Yeah, I would agree with that if it
takes
wasn't
a
a
lot.
$1 billion corporation and everything like that. Like I just that does give me some cause for concern. it does make the possibility of this film being profitable a lot higher. You know, if it's made for less than $200 million, and
Right. They would
made
need about 4
50
to
to
500
60.
million. Yeah.
Yeah,
in the
they
box
would
office.
make their money back.
Which
But if they hit
again
$1
makes me
billion,
think
then
that
they would be
they
like, oh
think
shit.
that this film doesn't have the chance to hit $1 billion. Otherwise, they would have given it a higher budget.
No,
And a season 4. I think season 4 would be the best marketing for this
no.
series.
They
I don't believe
they
the 3-year
could
cap
they
is
could
gonna help
back
us.
end it. They could back end it more into marketing.
And I think that's a good idea. I think marketing is a key side to get. I mean, when you look at the Force Awakens marketing, that was huge.
Yeah, it's not only that, yes, but it's not only that. Mandalorian, the phenomenon that's Mandalorian is all marketing.
That's true.
It's word of
Baby
mouth.
Yoda and everything like that.
It's bumper car stickers. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason season 1 was such a big deal is because of the word of mouth of not just Star Wars fans, but everybody going, "Oh my god, did you watch The Mandalorian last night?" Like it was a really
granted,
good
it was
thing.
also the first thing on Disney Plus that had that going with it as well. I mean, it was this is launching.
But that goes
Disney
back to the
Plus.
marketing. That goes back to the marketing. Though.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That was a
you can
great
consider that.
marketing strategy that they had.
Yeah, it worked really well.
Okay, well, let's wrap this show up with one final prediction. Maybe 2 predictions. A, do you think this movie is going to happen? And B, when do you think it's coming out?
Go ahead, Lunga.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. When? This is so hard because we don't even know exactly when the movies are coming out, right? Originally, you know what? A month ago, it was the Rey movie first, then the Mandalorian movie, and then there was the Mandalorian movie first, and now it's the Rey movie, and then we got supposedly
God help
right,
me.
and it was, and then what are we supposed to have? We're supposed to have early 2025, late 2025, and 2026 or something like that, right? Isn't that what
it's May 2026, December 2026.
It was 2026.
And then December 2027.
Early and late 2026 and December 2027. I was off a year. Yeah. So we got 3 slates, 2 in 2026 and 1 in 2027, right? So right now we're believing, it's Mando 1, Rey, Mando 2, right? That's what we're assuming. It depends on what the first movie does, obviously. And it depends on what's going on with the Rey movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, I think it's great. It most likely they're looking at bookending. May 2026 will be the first Mando movie. December will be the Rey movie, and then 2027 will be the Filoni movie. I mean, that's based on what we've seen so far, with very little confirmation on anything. That's what it looks like it'll be. But we know what happens when you try to guess schedules of Star Wars movies.
God. One day you're probably going to wake up, Lunga, and get an email from Lucasfilm and be like, "Hey, we're in a really bad situation. We need you to come in and co-write the rest of this movie. Here's the script. Good luck."
They've gone through everybody. They've gone through everybody else.
Yeah.
Go down the list. You're on there somewhere.
They're gonna call one of us like, "Hey, you guys want to direct a movie?" It's like, well, how much are you gonna pay? I've never directed. We don't care what you have done or not done. We need a name and a face. We've actually directed the movie for you. Just go out there and promote it and say you did it. Papa Memes, when do you think this movie's coming out? Do you think it's 2027, like Longa's saying?
I'm gonna throw a curveball. Okay. I think it's possible, given rumors, on my end, rumors on the internet and stuff, and with the Rey movie. I think it's a possibility that the Rey movie is 2027. Mando 1's May 26th, and then they're gonna do a part 2 in December and keep it within
in the same year. That seems no.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
I don't buy that at all.
I don't. Yeah,
I wanted. I wanted to throw a curveball.
When have we ever seen a part 1 and part 2 come out 6 months from each other? When in the theaters?
No. There was.
I mean, Jackson did the
Howls was like a year ago.
There was
like a year.
Yeah, but that was not. That was still a year apart. And didn't they film those at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. And then Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, they filmed everything with over 3 years, a year apart.
Yeah, but they were still a year apart.
No, fair enough. I just want to throw that out. But I want to answer the second question of do I think this is going to happen? I have my doubts for a variety of reasons. Given history and statistics, we know that the majority of Star Wars movies that are announced do not happen. it'd be wise to follow that trend of possibility. And also, given the circumstances with Dave Filoni and everything going on, I can see there being pushback. I can see it happening, but not under him directing it. I can see that changing. So right now I'm sitting at a 50-50 chance of it happening or not.
Oh, I'm like 80-20 that it happens, and then
You're
20%
insane.
that it doesn't. I mean, what
All
are you
due
talking about?
respect.
It's Dave.
All due
It's Dave
respect.
Filoni. He's the creative officer of the entire company. This isn't David Benioff and
Yeah.
D.B. Weiss, where
He's
they
not-
aren't on stage and everything. They literally brought
Right.
this man out on stage
Okay.
and said he's doing a Star Wars movie.
When you're going from
And not only that, we're not talking
Hold on.
about, you know, hired guns, which directors are, right? No, he's VP at the company.
He's part of
I understand that.
Lucasfilm. Yeah.
I understand that. When you're going from making shows and making those projects, which is what he's mostly worked with, to now making multi-$100 million movies, Disney gets heavily involved.
He's been groomed since The Force Awakens.
Do you think they
Kathleen
don't know
Kennedy
that, like, he was announced
held
to
his
be a
little chubby
movie maker?
hand and
What does
brought
that
him
have
out
do
to the
with
set
anything only?
of every movie.
I said there's a possibility it gets changed of who directs this movie.
But who at Disney is going, oh, I saw Dave Filoni's making a Star Wars movie, okay. And then 3 years from now, they go, actually, we don't want him to make it. Like, they know this. They had to get
Did
approval
you
from
see
them.
how the production and process of the sequel trilogy went?
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be.
Did you see
Those are
all the
completely
movies that
different-
have come out under
Those
Disney
are
and how often
completely
those were
different
those were
scenarios. You're comparing apples
They
and
are
oranges.
not. How
They are
is that a different
absolutely
scenario?
different. Because none of those people are employed by Lucasfilm. All those people are just, like I said, hired directors. None of them
Right.
are like that'd be like firing
Right?
Kathleen Kennedy
And
from
Dave's job
production.
as CFO is not director. That is a completely
No,
different
it is literally the guy who writes the whiteboard for everything that happens in Star Wars.
right.
And not only that, he has
That's
had more.
It's like
experience
Kevin
with the Disney
Feige. If
executives
Kevin
than anyone
Feige,
else.
if Kevin Feige said, "I want to direct a movie," who's going to tell him fucking no?
Well, how many movies does Kevin have under his belt?
You're irrelevant. Position to position right now.
That is
But no.
absolutely relevant.
No.
That is,
But
that
hang on,
you
you're bringing
cannot
up
tell
Dave
me
No.
that is not
Filoni.
relevant. That is
You're
not
bringing
something
up
Disney is going to
Dave
look at.
Filoni and the Disney executives. Dave Filoni has openly said, "Yo, I've done these like." There's that one thing Kathleen Kennedy
He's
said.
been
of, like,
involved
"Oh,
with the movies. He hasn't been CFO with all these movies, though. There's a complete
okay, but
difference.
he has made multiple Star Wars shows with Disney. They also look over
Which
that
is
stuff
why
and
I
care about-
said, with my initial statement, when you go from shows to movies, $100 million movies, $300 million movies after marketing, Disney gets more involved.
There's
okay?
no way in hell that Disney looks at Charmin Obachinoy and Dave Filoni and goes, "We don't
Yeah.
want Dave." Like,
Right.
And I
no.
question if Charmin is even going to be director of the Rey movie.
Okay, but see that one makes more sense because she is an outside the bubble kind
There's
of
a
person.
higher
Dave Filoni
possibility
has
of
been
her
there.
getting let go by Disney. Absolutely.
That shit got real quiet, didn't it? That
Oh my
shit
God.
got real
Absolutely.
quiet.
You know,
Hey,
there's no way-
shut the fuck up.
But to
They
say
brought up
that,
that Mandalorian
oh no,
Grogu
there's
movie
no
and
way
nothing
Disney
else.
looks at Dave Filoni and says, "Well, you're CFO, so you have to be the director." I find that very ignorant. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. It's not that way. It's not that way. You got to You got to think about how Kathleen Kennedy thinks because she's still in charge. Okay.
I honestly don't know how she thinks. I'll be honest. She's kind of
She gave no. You got to go by you do. You got to look at the
by
history,
I
right?
I get it.
JJ, we want you to make Star Wars, make all of them.
Mhm.
Well, I really only want to make okay, but here we go. Here, go, do it. And he did it. And then
Right.
I'm not coming back for the second one. Okay, Ryan, here you go. This is what JJ did. Here, do it. Do what you want.
Yeah,
Have fun.
Not so true.
Okay.
The biggest reason that was happening is because of the lawsuit. That he had a multi-deal project with Lucasfilm.
Okay,
Let's
stop
let's
with
not
the
go on
JJ
side
defending. I wasn't talking shit about JJ. I'm talking about Kathleen Kennedy here.
Hold
Please.
on. How is me fact checking?
Don't do this. Don't do this. Go
Hold on a
go
second,
side
hold on.
argument.
How
side
is
all I
me
said is
correcting-
then JJ didn't do it. That's all I said. That's
You
all I
said
said,
JJ didn't
which
wanna
is
do
a
it.
fact.
But if your point is how
He said from the
Kathleen
beginning.
runs
He said from the
things,
beginning he
was
didn't want to do all
forced
three.
out.
He said from the beginning he didn't want to do all three.
The lawsuit is what?
The lawsuit is what forced him not to be able to do it. But he didn't even want to come back for the third one. He didn't want to do all three. He wanted to start it and then hand the ball off.
He didn't even want to do
He
the
did not
first
want to
one.
do-
Come to think of it.
Yeah, they had to talk him into that too.
That is true.
Okay,
Poor
but
bastard.
and if she has, and these are with directors who she just liked, right? This is
Right.
someone she hired for a major position at the company who's been doing stuff for Lucasfilm for fucking how long now? Or 20 years, right?
15 years, yeah.
When did the Clone Wars start? 2000 and
about 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 15 years.
2008
Okay,
when the movie
he has a
came
long
out.
career with Lucasfilm. He is pretty much considered the heir apparent to George Lucas as far as lore is concerned. He has a major position in the company that is literally heading all what Star Wars is going to be for the foreseeable future. Okay, it's not that they're going to say he has to do it because he's CFO. What it's saying is you make the decisions. Oh, you want to be a director? Go ahead. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, I push back on that. I completely push back that they would just simply allow that. And I never.
How you
and I
saying
never said,
you're acting like they just picked him out of a garbage can?
Well, I'm
This is
talking about
not-
Disney here. Because let's go back to my initial statement, which is that there is a possibility. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I said there's a possibility that they get a new director for this. There is a possibility.
If you're
of that.
saying Disney, Bob Iger is not going to get involved on who's directing this movie.
Probably doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a
But
fuck.
anywho,
history in his own book, in his own words,
That's PR. Right now, he's trying to get the stock prices back up.
Right, his book.
So he's
that
gonna
came
say
out,
whatever
what was
the fuck he has to say.
4 years ago, I think.
Okay.
years ago,
When
I
he
think
took
was
back,
when
when
that
he but when he took back over, he was in a position of fuckery with after JPEG, and he's been doing nothing for the
Set up
last
by Iger,
how long ago?
But sure, yeah.
Iger had nothing to do with what Chapek did, destroying the fucking parks and the shit that he did with Disney Plus.
Plus and everything was set
Okay?
up by
But-
Iger.
but-
What
thing is,
caused
like, the
Disney
idea
to
that-
get severely hurt outside of COVID was the parks and everything got pushed on Disney Plus. That was all Chapek. That was not Iger.
Under him, yeah.
no,
My
it
biggest-
was Iger's setup
Iger
and
set
then
up-
Chapek following through.
Iger set up
That's
the,
thing.
the
is-
fundamental problems
is
with
I,
Disney
I
Plus
don't
and
bel
everything.
I don't believe that.
I don't think
is going to
Iger's
be
plan
involved
was let's put everything on Disney Plus. I don't think that was Iger's plan. Iger's plan was to enter the streaming market, yeah, but not say fuck the movies. Let's put everything on Disney Plus.
Well,
Not
Iger's
to say
plan was
let's
buy
cheapen the
everybody
park
who did
and raise
better
the
than they did.
prices.
No, but that is Iger's plan too, though. I mean, maybe not cheapen the park, but definitely raising the prices and kind of fuck. The thing with
But
Disney
still give
right
the
now,
quality.
well, no, he didn't really. He hasn't delivered on quality things in a very
I don't
like.
think- yeah,
that's,
nothing has
that's the one
changed
thing. A
since
lot
he
of
took over a
Disney
while back.
people. Yeah, a lot of thing that Disney
Bob
people
Iger's
have not,
always
like,
been quantity
understood.
over quality. He's always been that. That's his entire role since being president of Disney is quantity over quality. That's how we got.
People
the
were
sequels,
happy
that's how
with
we
the
got all
parks.
buyouts.
People were happy with the parks until Chapek
Right,
came
and,
in.
and you know you're talking about parks.
No,
I'm
they were
talking-
not. That is not true at all. People were
I
not
don't know
happy
enough
with the
about the
parks.
parks. I
until
can't
Chapek
speak
came
on
in.
this.
Like I'm very well versed with the park stuff. Iger had been fucking with the parks for many a years to come. A lot of he picked Chapek as his
Galaxy's
as his
Edge went
successor
through
and
major
everything.
forceful changes under him, didn't it? There was supposed
But
to be
that
a
was
lot
because of
more
Chapek.
Edge.
That one is
Was that
Chapek's
Chapek?
fault.
Okay,
That was not
I
Iger's.
like I said, I don't know
one is
enough about
absolutely
him.
Chapek's
The
fault.
hotel,
Hold
the
on a
hotel was
second.
Chapek too.
The park,
The
the
what?
Galaxy's Edge was open before Iger.
The hotel
before Iger
with
left.
Galaxy Cruiser, it wasn't that was Chapek too.
It was
That
under
well, it
him,
wasn't
yeah.
his idea. That was
Yeah.
Iger's kind of plan and everything. But under Chapek, it didn't go so well, and then they just.
But the
recently canceled it.
implementation and everything they
Just
put in it
ended
was
it.
still all Chapek. But we
Yes,
do
but
got to end it,
still,
guys.
but-
We
but
are
my
over our
whole-
time here.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Only, finish off.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. Please tune in next week. If you guys are sticking around for the shit show that today episode was, thank you very much. Please leave a like and support the channel and everything. But
You could have
next
finished your
week, next
thought.
Wednesday
You know,
night-
That's what I said. I said,
Oh,
go ahead and finish.
I don't know.
It's like,
You,
all right,
you
fine.
guys kept like piling on it. I didn't want to, keep going on tangents and everything like that. I only thing I was going to say about the Iger situation when it came to Dave Filoni is simply that I think he's so busy with everything else that's going on in Disney. He does not give a fuck who is directing any of the movies at the moment. I think he's got so much damage to control to do with people trying
very
to
much a
become
possibility.
influential.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my final thought. But thank you guys for tuning into today's episode. We don't have a calendar for the upcoming episodes because I've been hella busy with shit. But once again, thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like. Tune in next Wednesday where we are interviewing the guy who plays Din Djarin in The Mandalorian, the guy who will be playing him in the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie, Brendan Wayne. It's going to be hopefully our biggest show, probably not in terms of views and everything, but in terms of professionalism and what the quality and what we three are kind of looking for and trying to grow the show and just become better at what we do. That's going to be a big test for us. So please come support us. It's a big deal for us. Check out Brendan Wayne and everything. You'll hear some stuff that you probably haven't heard him say before, and from just learning more about Star Wars. So definitely tune into next Wednesday's episode. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday with Brendan Wayne. May the force be with you always.
Wow.